I have some leftover hot dog buns, and I'm going to show you how to juggle with these. Okay, that didn't go as planned, so instead, I'm going to use them to make bacon bread pudding. So yes, this is a recipe that uses leftover hot dog buns or leftover bread, leftover hamburger buns, whatever you may have laying around. And I'm going to be baking this bread pudding in the oven today in my 8-inch cast iron skillet. First thing we need to do is make our liquid ingredients, get those all mixed up. It's sort of the custard that all the bread soaks in. So we're going to take a cup of milk, 1 egg that's been beaten, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 cup of sugar with a pinch of salt. We're going to mix this up. And now we're just going to start adding our hot dog buns. We're going to break them up, just break them into pieces. Start dropping them in there so they can start soaking up all this goodness. Start mixing this around a little bit before we add more of our hot dog buns here. And this is a small batch I'm making today in that 8-inch skillet. You could double this recipe, put it in a 12-inch skillet. I'm going to keep adding some more here. So far I've added 5 hot dog buns, and I think that may be the perfect amount here. We're just going to mix it up a little bit still, get that moisture into those pieces. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to add my bacon. This is a 1/4 pound of brown sugar bacon that I fried up in the cast iron pan. Then we got the excess grease out and left a little bit in there. That's also going to be in there to help lubricate the pan with the bread pudding. So we're just going to mix our bacon pieces in. I gotta tell you, this smells really good already with all that sugar and the brown sugar bacon. And this is what we're looking for. Let's get it into our cast iron pan. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and fill my 8-inch cast iron skillet with this bread pudding mixture. And it's not gonna fill it completely. This is a small batch we're making today. And we're gonna be cooking it in a preheated 350-degree oven, probably anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And now we're gonna sprinkle about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar on the top of this, because you want to make sure that it's sweet enough. I don't know if we had enough sugar in the rest of it. Now I'm going to top it with about a tablespoon of butter that I've broken up into little pieces here. There we are. We're going to get this in the oven, and while it's baking, we're going to make a sauce that's going to drizzle on top of it when it's done. All right, our oven is preheated here. I'm going to go ahead and put our cast iron pan in. I have a baking sheet under that to catch any drips in case it bubbles over, but I think we should be okay. We're going to go between 20 and 30 minutes on this. We'll check it at 20 minutes. So what I'm doing in this little saucepan is I'm melting a half a stick of butter. To this, I'm adding a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. You can use any kind you want. I'm using a ghost pepper maple syrup from Trader Joe's. And I'm also adding a tablespoon of Jack Daniels. This is extremely low heat here. I'm not going to flame this. This is just to help incorporate it. And we're just going to slowly let this come to a simmer. All right, our drizzle sauce here is simmering. You can see it bubbling lightly. It's going to go for low heat for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm just going to sit this on the back burner of the stove. It's going to stay warm there while the oven's on, and then when it's time to serve our bread pudding, we're going to drizzle this on top. All right, let's get a look at our bread pudding and see how we're doing. It's been 20 minutes. We've got nice bubbling going on around the edges, but I can tell it still needs a little bit more. Still a little bit moist. Want just a little bit more of a crust on top. So I think 10 more minutes is going to be just about perfect. Let's close it up for 10 more minutes. All right, we've been going 30 minutes. Let's see how we're doing. Oh yeah. This is looking really good, nice and puffed up. You can see the bubbling of that butter and the sugar around the edges. I'm gonna get this out. I'm gonna let it cool for probably 10 minutes, and then we are gonna serve it up with some of that sauce. All right, here is our cast iron baked Bacon bread pudding with maple whiskey sauce. It really smells good. And I'm gonna drizzle some of this sauce on here now. Now, if you want this sauce thicker, you can simmer it a little bit longer, stirring it. I left it sitting there for 30 minutes on the stove with the heat from the oven rising, so it thickened a little bit more, which is good. It's almost a little caramelly. And this could take longer than 30 minutes in your oven. Every oven's a little different, so you just have to kind of keep checking it, see when it's solidifying a little bit. You don't want it hard because it's bread pudding. It's got a little softness to it. That's the way you want it. And I have my glove on because the number of times I've grabbed cast iron when it's still hot with a bare hand has taught me a lesson, and I remember it 50% of the time. So here we go. Let's get a little bit of sauce on this because I'm going to taste it straight out of the pan today. Oh, look at that. That looks terrific. It's time to taste. Now, I'm not sure this is going to be sweet enough. I mean, I could sprinkle more sugar on top. I'm kidding. This is like a spoonful of sugar here, which is not always a bad thing. So let's see. Oh, wow. This is really good. Wow. I don't know if you can see this here, just that soft, puddingy center of this, exactly the way you want bread pudding to be. Nice little kick of that whiskey in that maple whiskey sauce. And here's some bacon inside in the bread pudding. The slight saltiness of the bacon, because it was brown sugar bacon to begin with, is nice in this, that little bit of salt. If you wanted to, you could sprinkle a little bit of salt on top of this even, just like making a salted caramel topping. I mean, it's gonna be sweet no matter what, but it is so good. This isn't just like shoveling sugar into your mouth. There's so many good flavors here, that bacon, the maple, especially the ghost maple, little tiny bit of kick, not too hot. That little hint of Jack Daniels in there, everything with this works well. And I've got to say, doing it in cast iron, there's just something special about it. I love cooking in cast iron. If you've seen enough of my videos, you know that. I've done a full-on large bread pudding in my cast iron Dutch oven a couple years ago, but in this 8-inch cast iron skillet, it's a perfect amount for 4 people or 2 people or 1 person. So if you have leftover hot dog buns or hamburger buns or bread or anything like that, put it in a pan with that nice custard sauce, bake it up in the oven, top it with some sauce that you make, maybe a maple whiskey sauce, and you're gonna have an amazing dessert.